Hey, what's up, guys? Give me a second to get this kind of set up in a decent manner. Alright, get my stuff going. Yarr. And make sure my headphones are on. These are on, yeah? Let's see here. Test, 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 test. Can you all hear me out there? Good. Alright. Okay, so the other day I went to practice. You guys might have seen the video. I took this TC8. I keep calling it the TC08. It's a TC1. I took the TC1 out to practice over at Strickland. That's the Strickland RC Park. For the races. And this is the rear wheel. Obviously the rear wheel is not really supposed to do that, so we're going to fix that today. I had to go a little bit out of town to get the part for it, but I was able to find it. And so we'll be able to do that today. But I didn't do any of the storage stuff for the car. So I'm just going to wipe my tires down and kind of also catch up on a little bit of stuff here and there. So I didn't get a chance to clean the tires off and all that jazz. So I'm going to go ahead and get that done first. Get that tire off, get that knuckle off, get this up on the setup station and get my settings back in. And then, so this is going to be just a little bit short, guys, because I can't be working on this all night. Tomorrow's Monday. Now, during practice, my lap times, I made a video to kind of show the area, some of the practice laps from a really not the best view in the world, but you can't see the track okay. And I did make a video that kind of overlaid a timer on a video of the laps. I don't know if I should post that up or not. Maybe I'll post it up. Maybe I'll post it. People might like that. I don't know. I'm not fast. I'm still several seconds off the time of the people I was racing with the other week when I was racing. They were down in the 11s and 12s, high 11s, low 12s, and my practice times were often 16s. My fastest lap was like a 13.4 or 13.29. It's also, I guess I also need to remember that the timers that I was able to overlay did not actually count milliseconds. What it counted was, brake cleaner's eating the wheel. Guess I can't clean the wheel with a brake cleaner. Huh? Tripping? No, there it is. It's eating the wheel. That's good to know. Oof. Yeah. Oh gosh. Why did I do that? Just turn the fan on. Made it too goopy. Alright, so yeah, I didn't get a chance to clean the car up. If you guys are getting into it, those are your best friend here. A paintbrush. can do quite a bit of the cleaning off of your car once you pull it from the track. I think that sure messed up that tire. Well, whatever, these are my practice tires. So I didn't even really get a chance to inspect this for other damage other than this broken knuckle here, which you guys can see. This is what broke. This arm bolts onto a little standoff on the knuckle, and it just snapped. It snapped right off. I'll give you guys a better view here in a second. Actually, here's one of the other knuckles. You can see that little arm there, right there. That's the bit that broke off of the arm. The kit came with other variants, so I had other ones, but there's a little number on them, 0, 1, and 2. And what that is that's the height difference from this axle hole to this lower, or to the rest of the knuckle. Kind of like a spindle lift on a truck, right? So the one that broke was the only one in there. So somebody let me know about Michael's Hobbies. It's kind of close by. It's a little bit far. Michael's RC Hobbies, 451 East Altamonte Drive, Suite 1389. That's the place. Alright. I really wish that these wouldn't show up backwards all the time. In fact, is there a setting for that? Can I? No. It's okay. Ooh, there's a brake cleaner in a closed room. Probably not the best idea. I should probably get that one done now. I could just use a couple of squirts. Anyhow, I'm just going to do this repair, get the alignment back in place. I'll get these tires in a Ziploc bag with a little bit of WD-40 on them. Get my set wheels back on here. I don't know. We'll see. Just concentrate on this. Hopefully, really give in the dog bones. Okay. My God, the dog bones on these things are flipping so. Yeah, the dog bones on these things are a nightmare, dude. They're super easy to do, but they're flipping big so easy. Oh my gosh. Oh. Another set of dog bones. I mean, flipping Team Associated. Tire on the back is nice and even. Just use this paintbrush to get that guy out. Get all the crud out of that wheel. Make sure it's nice and clean. Man, I can't believe that dog was bent. Is it just that one side? It's just that one side. Man, I'm gonna race this thing one time, and I've replaced the front dog bones, and I've replaced this one dog bone, and now this knuckle. Touring cars are very fragile now. I don't know what they're thinking. I guess these cars are supposed to be light and stuff. But storage sharp like that. Alright. Actually, I do need my other set. Yeah, I thought I had all my tools, but apparently I did not. So the dog bones bend, it puts that corner out of balance and that corner will vibrate super crazy. One thing this car is also having an issue with, which I should actually dig into the some of the settings, which I left the auxiliary phone in my car. I have it completely unloaded from the race weekend yet. I didn't end up racing, but I did go buy the parts for this. I should have went and raced, but I did not today. Yeah, so over there at Michael's, I picked up these guys. The spares, part number 32065. I got an extra spare because, you know, it only comes with one of each size. Oh, they're all loose already in there. That's super annoying. Oh, yeah. Let's see. These are the carbon strip ones. Anything This car is actually really, that's pretty easy to work on. Somebody else at the track was kind of talking to me though about the fragility of these cars. He was really annoyed that you know, the car takes so much maintenance. Now I'm starting to feel what he was talking about. It's holy moly. Fragile. I could just figure out a way to straighten out these dog bones. I'm doing pretty good. Every time I take it out, I gotta do a dog bone. It's like $16 right there. This is not the fronts too. I guess I should check that here in a little bit. Don't forget your Loctite and your metal connections. Let's see here. Alright. That dog bone. Man, I can't believe that bit another dog bone. That's kind of disappointing. I can't believe they make these touring cars so fragile. Are all the touring cars this fragile now? Let me know in the comments if you guys have any other touring cars and if they are all just this fragile now. That's horrifying. I guess it's not that bad, but good if you're an RC company because you're going to be selling lots of parts. But as a racer, you know, you don't really want to be buying toy car parts all the time, especially not the same ones over and over again. You want to buy go fast parts, not fix them up parts. Alright, so I got this knuckle off. That's held onto this top joint here with these two screws. and they go into a little block that holds the top ball stud. The bottom ball stud is here. Ooh, almost lost that bushing. And there's this little set screw that goes on the outside and pushes a little pad into that ball screw. And inside that is this tiny little bushing that they don't give you any spares with. So don't lose that. Let's see, I gotta get my glasses on for this part. This is the one-up racing hub. There. Which retains the pin. There's a little O-ring right here. And the pin is in this slot that the O-ring was in. Alright. So there's the O-ring there. And that covers up this slot. And this slot. Right there is this pin. Right there. That pin there. Pull that guy out. Let's try to pull that guy out. Maybe push that guy out from the back side. Pull it out. And then this guy can come out of there. Comes out with the bearing. It's a different size than stock bearing. Supposedly it's supposed to be more concentric. And then it also eliminates an extra bushing in here. What they call the crush bushing. So it comes out of there. This bearing comes out of there. Pretty good still. Now is a good time to go through the oil and everything. But the oil I got was CV oil. From One Up Racing. I got the red premium CV oil. I don't normally like to spend out to money on oils when this is probably just machine oil. What's this say? Keep out of reach of children. Contains petroleum distillates. And swallowed for poison control. Otherwise it says nothing about this. Do I have any oil? I have WD-40. Whatever. Need to get some oil for that. Okay. So get one of these open. And get one that everything's falling off of it. So who knows? Sometimes when you buy spare parts, you never, ever, ever, ever break the part again. My thought was always, if you broke the part once, you probably break the part again. Man, these scissors. What the heck is with these scissors? Holy smokes. Those were the worst scissors I've ever seen in my whole life. Okay. Alright. Okay. Oh. Wow, maybe they weren't carbon to begin with. seeing a little bit of a different color. This is the stock broken part here. It's pretty black. And then the replacement parts here I got with the carbon parts. And they're kind of gray. I can't tell if there's any weight difference or not. Obviously, it's broken. Old steering arm on. That means we gotta change the rears too, because I'm sorry, I gotta change the left side also, so I don't introduce a variable from left to right. Let's see. So its axle spacing was, it says it on this part. It was a +1. Now I can almost feel like I can almost glue that right together. But yeah, there it is. There's that broken part right there. Leaf. Let me know in the comments where you guys are watching from, what you're working on, what you're into, all that fun stuff. Just push that off. Push that off. I'll wipe those parts off. That was, what did I say? +1. +1. So now I need +2. There's a +1. There's a +1. All the others are loose, of course. Is this the version? So cool. Different solutions. Set those in the spare parts. Okay, this. Alright, so these ones. This here will go right in the tuning box. So the arms look like they're hard out of the box. Here. There's one random arm left. I wonder why it's missing an arm, but then using my ones. Choose up here. Alright. Bust out one dog bone. Obviously do not want to try to use those scissors again. That was so terrible. Where's my hobby knife? Like I said, welcome to the Watch Me Look for My Tools channel. It's always like that too. No matter how hard I try to think ahead and get all my stuff in order, you know, I always end up missing something or everything. See, these little balls gonna come off here. I know what those are for, if anything. is take those little nubbins off. Clean up your tree bridges there. Because if you don't, people will think you're a hack. Which I kind of am a hack anyways. Otherwise, I'd probably be sanding that. Really, you shouldn't tear them off. You should nip them off. Get some good nips. Nip the stuff like this off. Oop. Oop. No, I don't know what it is. Somewhere. I have a feeling these carbon parts are actually going to end up being more fragile. Everybody's telling me that these carbon parts are more fragile. They're more rigid. Like zero difference on the track. I just happen to have already picked them up. But who knows? Maybe it'll work out. Maybe they'll be stronger. I seriously doubt it, because the person who told me that is pretty experienced. One more, just for good measure there. Going to do this CV joint parts. Their CVs are pretty cool. They're double jointed. And they just come with this ring on the outside here that holds all the pins in place. So you take this ring right off of there, and then all of a sudden you have access to the pins and barrels inside here. You just push the pins out, there's nothing holding them in, it all falls apart. No press, not even tight. I'll just come right apart. So just so you guys can see it. Right there. See it there? Just push the pin a little bit. Push it out the back. Goes right out with zero pressure. These are like the weakest tweezers ever in the world. There. That releases this cage here. And then once that cage is out of the way, the pin barrels are right there. And that is the hole that that little pin went through all three of those. Alright, so this is the old dog bone, which I don't know if you can see it wobble there a little bit, but this is the bent dog bone. Another bent dog bone. That's dog bone number 3. You need to start saving those to make a necklace out of them or something crazy. Maybe I should save on those spares. I don't know. Like oh shit spares. Should probably go through them all of them and clean them all out. squirted down with some isopropyl, shape around inside a cap of some sort. Reassemble that with a straight dog bone, and then get some of this 1-Up red CV oil on there. Try that out. I think that's what was on them before. And it seemed like it was keeping them in pretty good shape. Well, I don't know, because I really haven't ridden the car too much. But it seemed like there was some kind of oil on there instead of like dark grease. So what's up, guys? Don't be afraid to chat. Open the chat section. Say what's up. Say where you're from. Say all that good stuff. Yo, yo, yo. Check in the chat. Y'all. Let's see. Do I have a little container? Got this little container right here. Nobody knows what that is. It's an SD card. Right there. Right there. All the parts in here. Work that down. As you go home. Switch around. Instagram is nice because it kind of dissolves pretty quick. I mean, it evaporates pretty quick. It evaporates pretty quick. It does a pretty good job of stripping the old walls and dust off of everything. It's volatile. It's also super fun because it evaporates quick, which is what volatile means, is that it evaporates. Technically, it's a volatile organic compound. The VOC, just like they don't want you to use in California. Alright. Where's that? Where's that? Okay, so here's how this is going to go. Right here. So we can assemble this in front of the camera. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. Alright. So I have a fresh dog bone. And in this fresh dog bone, Alright, in this fresh dog bone, there's a large hole. Inside that large hole will go this barrel with a little hole in it. That little hole is what the pin goes through. So you put the barrel in. Oh jeez. The hinge barrel goes inside the big hole in the dog bone, like so. You want it to go in so you can see that hole through it. Because that pin has to go through the cage. So this cage goes, it's got those little holes in it. Come on. That cage has those little holes in it. Come on, focus. There it is. It's got those little holes in it, and that's what that silver pin goes through. So you got the hole lined up in your slot here. The barrel in the slot. And then this cage goes over it, and you line that hole up. And then the pin goes through that hole and through the hinge barrel. There, and out the other side. There we go. And that is one side of that completed. It's the same thing on the axle side. The axle, it's got the large bore in the slot. The large bore, that's where the pin barrel goes. The slots, that's where the little pin clears through. So the little hinge barrel goes into the big bore, and you align the little hole with those slots, which are in there. And you'll notice on the cage they give you an extra set of holes so you can use it for a couple of rebuilds. This is, you want to line the two pins up together. So you're going to use the set of holes with the other pins, in line with the other pins, parallel with the other pins, not perpendicular, but parallel. So it's going to be like that. Like that. There we go. And all of it together, got those holes lined up. There you can see the light where the pin is going to go. You get this little pin in there. Get the little pin in. Might have to wiggle it a little bit for it all to fit in there. Boom. She's assembled. That is how you put together the Team Associated, double jointed. And then after you've lubed it, this sleeve goes over that. And that sleeve there is what holds all that together. Super simple. It's actually, it really is super simple. In the old days they had set screws and stuff in there. Some of those one-up racing moving there. Lubricate the barrels. Lubricate the little ball joint in between them. Uh-oh. Oh, that really must work. lubed up. I'm going to protect the sleeve on there. Back in the day, that would have been just heat shrink, which, you know, if you lose that part and you have to rebuild one of these and you don't have any spares, which of course that was one of the first spares I bought, you could just use a piece of heat shrink over that. Alright. I bet this wall is good right here too. Just a little bit. Alright. Okay, alright, okay. Yeah, that's pretty good. Okay, alright. So, find the one that matches. Get our bearing back in there. Right, got the bearing back in the knuckle. I'm going to get my 1-up hex drive back in there, which is just like that. It goes back in there. With its specialty bearing. And of course, I think I have lost the pin for that. I wasn't being very careful. Here's the pin. Alright, so you get your inner bearing, stock inner bearing from what I understand. You get your 1-up hex drive on there. The 1-up hex drive inside that slot has a hole. There it is. Alright. So our CV joint has a hole in it as well. Let's see, can I line up the holes with the camera? Yeah, okay. So there's a hole in that. That hole goes in here. Lines up, ideally, one of the 2 holes up, like so. Oh, that worked out just by accident. Okay. And the pin, little pin, goes in the hex hole. Spun on me. It's alright. Just get it. Just get that right there. Get it started. You can just kind of spin that axle right until it lines up. I'll push right in there. Kind of push that until it's kind of even with the bottom of the slot. There it is. A little too far. Twice. Only a little bit too far. Okay, so there's that. And then what holds all of that together is the O-ring. O-ring just goes around that hex, fits right in that slot, and you can see covers up them pins. And this CV and knuckle is all back together again. Ready to put back. Alright. So on this side we got the pillow ball, which I think, I don't know if you're supposed to install these dry or put a little dot of lube on there. If I put you know what, I'm going to put just a micro thin layer of black grease on all I'm gonna do, this is the Team Associated black grease. It's exactly the same as everybody else's high pressure black grease. And all I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take a little bit of this residual bowl off the tip. And I'm just gonna rub it on that ball. I really don't want to put that on there because the grease tends to attract dust and dirt and stuff. And so I literally am putting the very minimum I can possibly put on there. Alright, so that ball. This thread into the control arm. Oh, that's the broken knuckle. Look at that guy. This is our new knuckle. That ball goes in there. Boop. And our little bushing. That goes over that ball with the small round part up, the small shoulder up, and the flange down. That goes over that. Oop. I just put it upside down, of course. Fell. Alright, so she goes in like, so hard to see, I know. Like that. And then this guy goes on top. That one there, that big one is a 3mm. Through. Alright, so be careful not to cross that thing, guys. So I'm going to tighten that up. So it stiffens this guy up a little bit. And I'll back it off until that moves. Or has zero slop this way. And when I'm pulling it out this way, back and forth, see there's a little bit of slop there? I'm going to get completely rid of that slop, but then have it still move as freely as possible. So, one more slop. See how it is just a hair stiff. I might even just leave it like that because it's, when you move it on its own, it's really not that stiff. Maybe what I'll do is I'll tighten it up a little bit to get that bushing to conform to the ball, and then back it off just until, and I'll push this up. I'll back it off just until that ball stud falls. There it is. Alright. So, almost zero slop that way. And it moves pretty free. Alright. Now, these are plastic, and they've never been threaded before. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the dab. A dab. And there's black grease on these threads here. And that's going to help that cut or mold a thread on these parts. As you drive that screw in there for the first time, I recommend doing that off the car because that can be kind of a pain in the butt. I should be using, actually, I will be using good old dip off today. Now, when you're working with them, with anything, with a drill, set that clutch to level 1. Because you want to use almost no pressure. You want it to slip before it can damage anything. Ideally, you're going to notice before you bottom out. Woo! You can see how much torque that was taking. All right. I kind of like to run stuff in and out a couple times. And be very, very careful because that screw will get so flippin' hot. It gets so hot you wouldn't even believe. Oh, look at that. I almost lost my pen. You see that? I barely bumped that sleeve and I almost lost my pen. So you gotta watch out for that sort of thing. Alright. That screw's hot. That screw's quite hot. It's hot indeed. Where are we? Right, let's fix that. Get that brushed out over here. Well, I should get a Q-tip and clean it up inside that side. But I'm not. Okay, so my setup had a 1mm spacer down here at the bottom under the pillow joint. So my setup had a 1mm spacer there. So there's my 1mm spacer. Right into the controller. There. Alright. And since I got the drill out, oh jeez. Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Okay. Now make sure that lines up. Okay. Alright. Okay. That man's up. These two screws ready. Remember, anytime you're putting a metal screw into a metal hole, I'm going to use your blue Loctite. Just a dab on the screw. Just a dab on the screw. Right. That's right. I'm using this guy. If you touch those threads with that thread locker on there, it'll get all over your fingers. It'll get all over your fingers. And it's kind of gross. There's that. I'm using my tweezers. Roll that up. Oh, I of course missed the control arm of the tweezy joint. Not paying attention. Just want to get it in there. It's falling out. Okay. Excuse me. Alright. Now it's in here. So I do have to do that by hand. Alright, get that screw started. Get the other screw going. The other screw in there. Just get it started. Go. Alright. There's how that knuckle goes on there. That knuckle goes on there. These two screws go through the plastic into this metal knuckle that holds a ball stud that goes into the upper control arm. And in this gap here, you can change the spacers in here that allow you to lengthen or shorten this upper arm and adjust the suspension geometry to give it more different roll center. So my kit came with the fancy spacers. It's got one horizontal side and one vertical side. So you put the horizontal side on one, like that, and then rotate it around, and it just captures right on that other screw, and that's how that all locks in there. Alright. Okay. Yeah, that's all there. Finish tightening up that's on there. Ooh, that one's real free. Oh, it does have a hair slot in there. It's important to remember that plastic expands and shrinks a lot in temperature. Right. No stop. It was relatively freely. This is what we're looking for. This guy. Go back. On there. Nice. So that is why. Oh my gosh. Okay. Alright, so get this. And throw screw back on. Let's try to get this up where you can see it. There it is. It's gonna go in there. So there's one. Oh. And then here's two. All right. And that repair is complete. It's just the same on the other side. I honestly don't know that I'm gonna switch the other side. I think I'm just gonna be okay with them being different compounds left to right. I really don't think that there's gonna be excuse me, any difference whatsoever between the carbon and the regular plastic, other than the carbon will probably break a little easier. From what I understand, the carbon will break easier. I mean, I guess I could get out the scales and weigh them. Well, weigh the difference. Let's do that. Oh, I can't do that. Forgot, I haven't unloaded my silver car yet. Yo, what's up? Check in the comments below. Alright, yeah, I'm not going to bother with putting the carbon one on the other side because I really intended for it to be the same as the stock. I really don't think that there's a weight difference in the carbon and the standard. Seriously doubt that there is. I mean, should I be a good boy and do it? I guess I should. I guess I do have my screwdriver. That does make it faster. Alright. I'm just gonna jam this out real quick. I really thought that I was stripping out the screw head. It was the clutch on the driver there. Thank God. Okay. Let's see here. And I already showed you guys how that works. To me, that really does seem like it's carbon parts already. Just that that's black. Maybe it's just glass filled plastic. Alright. The easiest spot to get up under that O-ring, because that O-ring is kind of a pain to get. Get yourself some really sharp, pointy tip tweezers. And for this one up hub, you get in there and you use the hole. Use the hole from the pin. And that gives you a spot that you can get down under that O-ring without nicking that O-ring. So the last thing you want to do is nick that O-ring and lose your pins out on the racetrack. So you lose wheel plastic. Alright, push the pin out. Push this right out. I guess that, oops. Oh. Guess that also gives me a chance to get that CV apart and kind of clean it up as well. Maybe put a drop oil on this bearing here. Should put a drop of oil on the other bearings too. Oil and oil. That's the bit. Whatever. I know it should go that on the other one as well. My fingers work still. Alright, let's do that. Okay. Always put the dirty side back on the outside of your bearing. Go back in there. That back in there. This side does not need to be rebuilt. I'm just taking it apart to clean it. I'm just going to clean it up a little bit. Since I'm here. And believe me, I don't want to have to do all those little things. But you know what? Things just seem to last longer. When we moved up a little bit, and I don't think you necessarily have to go crazy with it. You can go crazy with it. Definitely doesn't. Yo, what's up? What are you working on there? DC. Got a Team Associated SR7 unicorn. This is the Team Associated TC8. And I took it to some race practice the other day. Yesterday, actually. And this is a new knuckle. And I broke the arm portion off of the old knuckle. So I'm going through and having to replace the rear knuckles. So right now I just happen to be cleaning up and lubing the CV joints, the dog bones in the back. These touring cars are kind of fragile. How is that unicorn? Is it pretty fragile too? Let's see, on a street car, that's odd. What did you hit? I actually hit a racetrack barrier. I just barely leaked it. Actually, if you go check out my last video, fast forward all the lap section. There's 10 minutes of just laps on it. If you fast forward to the end of that, you can actually see the crash that caused that damage. But, you know, they're trying to make these touring cars so light that they're really just compromising all the strength. And then it's kind of interesting because they're making it so light, but then there's usually minimum weights you have to meet on different classes. And so you end up adding weight to it to meet those minimum weight requirements. But they have all these weak spots. Like, why don't we just thicken up the weak spots? I mean, that's what I think. Thicken up the weak spots. And the car will automatically weigh more. You know, I have 100 grams added to this car, and it still barely meets a race minimum weight. I feel like I'm missing one thing. There's the barrel. Where's the pin? So that one at Chattersman Drifting looks sick though. The SR7 is fragile. It starts to drive. It shatters when you're drifting. Looks sick though. What do you mean shatters? I had a DC-10 and yeah, that was pretty good. But I was running on P-tile in a drift track out there in San Diego. Well, honestly, I kind of liked my MST MRX a little better. The DC-10 was cool, but you know, like, huh? What tires did you use on it? Is it just the stock tires and that's always done that, or? You've only driven it 3 times, so yeah, it's probably a stock tire. What surface do you run it on? Do you run it on like smooth asphalt or concrete or, you know, terracotta? I don't know. What do you drive it on? Asphalt. My favorite. Huh. That's interesting. I haven't heard that. So what do you, is it noticeable? Is it like, is it bad? Like, or is it just kind of a little, you just notice it because you're up close or what? Alright, I'm going to put together one more of these things, right? So, I'm replacing everything with oil. Normally I kind of put some grease on this stuff, but I'm trying this oil out. I'm going to just put drops of oil everywhere. Let it kind of soak into my parts. Okay, I have them all wiped off. Neither of my felonies do it, but yeah, that's pretty noticeable because you can really hear it. That is interesting. Is anybody else experiencing that too, or? I have not had any of those cars. I haven't had any felonies or any of those little stunt on-road cars. Alright, so there's a barrel that goes in there. This cage here, that goes over that. Inside that slot, you can see, it's so hard to see on there. Cage. Oh my god. That's alright. Oh, I lost the pen. No, dude, here's the pen. Let's see here. So the pen goes in this little barrel right there. I'm calling this the CV cage. Oh, geez. Alright, so in the dog bone there's a large bore, and it gets this little thick pin with a hole in it. That thick pin goes in there. You gotta make sure you line the hole up with the slot, because you gotta get a pin through all of that. And that is the pin in this cage. So line that pinhole up with that slot. And then hopefully, like that, get it right in there, right through all the stuff. I'm going to say this red lube must be pretty good because everything is falling apart, whereas before it kind of stuck together a little bit. So, good. Good job, One-Up Racing. Holy moly. This stuff is flipping slick. The axle's the same way. This is the outer axle of that same CV joint. That's the double jointed joint. There's a slot. There's a slot and a big bore. And this barrel goes into the big bore. Like so. Whenever you drop something, don't try to catch it. Just kind of watch where it goes. Alright. So this, that goes right in there. Come on. Get in the hole. Get in the hole. Get in there. Don't you want to go to your home? Oh my God. This, there it is. That goes into there. Almost did it again. And then, there it is. Align the holes with the slots. Then when you put these two pieces together, you want to make sure that the pin ends up on the same side of the cage. You don't want them on opposite sides, you want them on the same side so that it's a constant velocity arrangement. Alright? So that will go like this. And there's actually a little ball that engages that in there. I'm going to start this pin in there. There. Try not to drop anything because it's all small. Right, there's that. And through there, through all the things. And boom. That's how that is assembled. I'm going to put some little bits of oil on all of this. All the joints that can potentially move should be oiled. So if you don't oil them, they will move and then they'll wear out. It's just how that stuff works. And especially in between the two joints where they kind of meet in the middle there. In the middle of that cage, there's a little ball socket where they kind of engage each other. Make sure that's moved because that aligns the inner and outer. Alright, so that's all that together. And then this sleeve Goes back over that. Boom. Holds all those pins together. And that will not fall apart now. And ta-da! We have an assembled double jointed CV unit. Alright. That goes in here. Up through that bearing. And then in our 1-up racing hex drives, there's that groove. There's a hole in that groove. That hole has to line up with the hole in the axle. But that is easy enough to just push in there. And you can kind of, I'll just try to do it on camera. You can kind of sight in there on the hole in the hub. There it is. And turn your axle. Let's see. If they're not aligned, you can't see light. When they are aligned, you can see light. So that's kind of pretty easy. And then the axle pin goes back in there. Right through that hole, just showing everything. You can actually just like start the pin. Start the hole in the pin there. And then you can just kind of put pressure on it and actually just turn the CV joint. It will eventually come around and drop in. But they're in there fairly even. The pin's in there. And then the O-ring can go back on. Let's see. Neither of your felonies do it, but yeah, it's noticeable because you can really hear it. A lot of people have that issue. Change the tire, shock oil, diff fluid to get rid of the shatter, but stock, yeah, it's bad. What do they end up changing? Did they just make everything super stiff? Alright, so that is all assembled. Okay. I'm going to put just another little micro dab of this black grease. I'm basically just wetting the ball stem. That's going to be the lower pillow ball. There's the knuckle. It drops right into that hole on the knuckle. Comes out the bottom. See? Goes in that hole. Comes out the bottom. And then this will thread into the control arm with it in this orientation. And the suspension will pivot on that. This is a touring car, so you know the suspension doesn't move around a whole lot. There's this little bushing. That goes on top of that pillow ball. Right in there. Let's see if we can see it. Right there. With the smaller diameter up, just like that. That small step goes upwards. Alright. And then there's this set screw. Has a shoulder in it just for that step on that bushing. So that goes on like so. And that's an M3. So use your M3 driver on it. And be really careful here because it is plastic. It's really, really easy to cross thread. I started cross threading the other one earlier on the show. Alright. Did I just do it again? No. Alright. Just tighten that up. You want to just get it just tight enough that that ball is stiff in there. You don't want any slop this way. No movement this way. Maybe just even like a slight rattle. Just a little bit. Alright. So now it's in there stiff, which is not necessarily bad. but not how you want it. So now we're going to back that off into that ball stud falls on its own. Alright, double check it for some slop. There's basically no slop there. So that guy's done. Then, since this is the first time this knuckle has had a screw in it, I'm going to put, so on the last one I just kind of put the grease on the screw. This time I'm going to just dab a little bit of this black grease into the hole. Since I'm driving the screw in there to pre-defreds before I get it on the car so I can actually work on it. This is what you're supposed to do with your plastic parts. And then on the other side, see how there's a little pin there? Right there, there's a little boss. That engages the steering arm on the other side. And I damaged that a little bit running the screw in and out. So I'm going to do the screw from the bottom side this time. And try to avoid that. Just go until the screw comes out the other side. Remember, that screw's going to be hot as heck. I'm just going to run it in and out. A couple of times. Ooh, it's hot enough that it's smoking. Just run that in and out a couple times. Be really careful. It's extremely hot. It will burn the crap out of you. Alright. Just like that. Alright. Ooh, that is hot. Okay. Well, that screw is going down. That's hot. Alright. Put those knuckles back on the car. Alright. Wow, that knuckle was hot. The knuckle itself is hot, the plastic. So, my setup calls for a 1mm spacer there. Nice that ball, get that on there. Alright. Put this knuckle on there so that goes there. Oh, preferably don't drop your spacer. I gotta do this over here, guys. I thought I could get you with a good view, but I cannot. Just gotta sacrifice video quality here for build quality. Sorry. Alright, so that ball stud does use a 2mm driver. Okay. Line of the dog roll with the cut on the side there, which is kind of there. Right. That box down there. That goes back on the bottom. Get the two upper screws in. Now instead of putting the Loctite on the screws, I'm actually going to put the Loctite this time on the knuckle, inside that hole, just a hair. That way I don't have to worry about getting that Loctite all over my fingers and my lips going numb later from it. Ask me how I know that your lips will go numb if you get Loctite on your fingers. Alright. So then we're just going to get that just started. Do not want to drive that screw in all the way yet until we get the specified spacer for the setup sheet in there. Which, this setup, this setup is this 1mm spacer. Should just go like that. There it is. Oh, that feels terribly stiff. Why is that so stiff? That's not good. What in the world? Must be that. What the heck? What is that possibly so slow? It's just somebody turn that one. I can't. Oh. Am I tripping? The suspension moves under its own weight. Can't be this. That's still loose. It's free. It's gotta be that underwall right there. Where the heck are my tool stats? It's always the let me find my tools channel. Alright, that one's a +1. You should have a +1 on that side. And no spares. Oh no. Don't. It's not going to buy the spare. Oh my gosh. Silly. Alright. Okay. Honestly, I have not had a chance to look over this car for any other damage after that little bit of a wreck. There it is. Let's see. Oh yeah, that was totally it. That one's free. So, there's something to be aware of on the TC8. Is this upper ball stud the cup and it rotated a little bit. So this end was rotated over the ball and it caused a whole bunch of friction on that suspension there. What you want that coming out of those holes. Alright. There's that knuckle that I just replaced this guy. It actually broke this arm off of the other side in race practice. But when I bought the replacements, I didn't get the regular plastic ones, which apparently the kit did have. I really thought that the kit had the carbon ones, so I bought the carbon ones. So I'm just going to tighten this up until this is a little bit stiff, and then back it off and have it smooth. Just, you don't want any slop in there. There it is. Make sure there's no slop in that. Out. Inside to outside. So you tighten up that pillow, that lock screw there to put tension on that ball stud there. And you just want zero slop when you pull it in and out. But you want this to move freely. It moves fairly freely. You got just tiny room to do it. Alright, so that's there. It was extremely hot before. Okay. So that this car. There's the rear active toe arm just bolts onto the spindle. Since I'm replacing the spindle, I'll unbolt that and put it back on. And that was literally the last screws for this repair to be complete. Now I just have to throw it back on the setup stand. Tighten everything up by hand. Alright, that's all good to go. So now, it's just a matter of putting it back on the setup station, man. Getting it dialed in. But I've already been off for almost 2 hours, so I'm going to drop this live feed. You guys have a good weekend. Have a good week next week. Everybody be safe out there. And thanks for tuning in. Peace. Goodbye.